Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Cellar Room. We're here today, up in Austin, where our good friend Bryson hooked it up, and we wanted to carry on our conversation from last week, where we left off talking about insurance. A lot of good details on it. If you didn't, please check out the links below in order to see what we've already went over, so you can catch up to this week. But we can't do it without introducing ourselves. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
Boom. Start at the end.
Throwing it to me. I'm Bryson Ramsey. I am the insurance agent.
I am Susan Ramirez. I am the title rep.
Daniel Johnson. I'm a real estate agent.
And Willie Davis, a loan officer. We are the Cellar. All right.
Cool. So what events do we have going on this week?
Well, would you like to take over?
Yeah, thank you. All right, going south to north this week, we have a Cinco de Mayo concert. It's music, excitement, and dancing and fun. It starts at 11:30. Where is this?
This is going to be in San Antonio, of course, but it's going to be at the Trader Joe's Center.
Oh, Trader Joe's Center.
Yep.
Good food, good music, good fun.
And tickets can be purchased online.
Sweet. We'll have links below. What we got up in Austin, Bryson?
Well, here in town we have the iHeart Country Festival. It's like the iHeartRadio Music Festival for country specific. That is May 4th, and that is at the Moody Center here in Austin. So it's a big festival, lots of different artists, good time, good food. If you can come up here for that one and then go back to San Antonio for Cinco de Mayo, you can get a full weekend out of it. So
Awesome. Sounds like full family fun.
oh yeah,
Both sides, up and down the 35.
yep.
So, like we were saying, let's jump into the final stages of the topic of insurance last week. We were getting into water and more specifically how insurance helps with foundation issues when water happens. So Bryson, I think you were getting into that subject.
Yeah. With foundation coverage specifically in insurance, you're just going to want to be sure this isn't talking about your foundation shifting or sort of getting messed up on its own. Your coverage is really going to be for the pipes that are going through the foundation. If those pipes leak or burst and cause that water to start seeping into the house, that's where it's going to be covered by insurance. And usually you'll want to have around $25,000 coverage for that, just because they have to drill into the foundation to get to those pipes. So it's going to be covering getting the foundation repaired from the drilling it, as well as the pipes as well, just all in all. But it is important to note, because some people do think that when things sort of shift or if their foundation just becomes off-center, that it's covered by insurance. It does have to be related to the water and the pipes that are running through it.
I'm glad that you explained that because, there's always think about, people having to dig under the house in order to repair the pipes, and that's usually where especially us in San Antonio, we think about that, and it's like, man, it's going to cost a certain amount per foot that they dig under there, but you never think about the pipe bursting in the concrete and actually causing issues, which will cause them to drill. So it's good to hear that, because you think that they could just drill in there and fix all the issues, opposed to having to dig on a house, save some money, but if it doesn't require it, it just doesn't require it.
Yep.
And I think different people have different opinions on the best way to do it.
Mhm.
Some people will tell you not to dig through the house. Some people will say go under.
Yep.
But a lot of people are like, it saves you a lot of money by going in instead of under.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. True. Very true.
So just absolutely things to consider when you're looking at insurance and when you're looking at how things are going to go with the foundation problem, especially when you're purchasing the home or when you're getting ready to sell your home. Just a couple of things to consider. Now, speaking of purchasing and selling a home, one thing that's absolutely discussed is who pays for the taxes on the home, especially if you're buying in the middle of the year. You're going to separate that into what somebody has paid versus what somebody is paying for the rest of the year. What, Susan? Why don't you help us out with this?
So depending on when you're closing, the tax bills do come out at the beginning of the year for the previous year.
Right.
Taxes are paid in arrears. So depending on when you're closing, if you're closing and the tax bill's out, the seller is going to pay the taxes and the buyer will give them a credit.
Okay.
Because they're going to own the home the rest of the year. If the tax bills come out, the full year's collected from the seller. and the seller gives the credit to the buyer.
So that's a technicality, right? Because from the time that the home is purchased, right, the buyer is going to have taxes from that point going forward.
Till the end of the year.
Right, so the seller has to pay for their portion of it, right, at the table, at the closing table. So when they pay for their portion of it, the remainder of it is, obviously, it's only a certain amount that's taken. But then the buyer takes over and takes the remainder of taxes. I didn't have to do this because I was better. You know,
Right.
we avoided that. You know what I'm saying?
Just cancel it out, cross it off.
Taxes, ugh, get those off of there. You know, so, but yeah, you're right in what you're saying.
So
is
yeah,
that-
depending on the time of the year that you do close, either you're giving a credit to the seller or the seller's giving a credit to you
Mhm.
For the remainder.
for
of
the
the-
remainder of the
year.
year.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's mostly going to be the seller giving that credit to the buyer because they got to pay for their portion of when they lived in that home.
Yes.
Yep. So,
And most lenders do tell title how much to collect.
Yes.
And they will put
Yes.
some in a reserve because taxes generally go up as the
Right.
years go on.
hold on. NMLS 2436684.
Ooh, we're getting into serious
Because we're
subject.
talking about
Okay.
taxes, so just in case.
Taxes
cover our
and-
bases.
Okay, okay.
You know, just
That
cover our
mortgage
bases.
is
Right.
coming into.
Right, right.
I
It's in there.
I follow you.
Throw it out there just in case. So
Okay.
do that out there. Go ahead.
Good deal.
Yeah, so most lenders will collect, they'll hold 3 months of taxes in reserve, so they do collect a little bit more, that way you're not short the next year. When they,
Right.
yes, so that's exactly, now, when you're buying a new build, you have to be careful, because a lot of them taxes are only collected for the dirt. When the house is done, those taxes go way up.
That's a good
So it's
detail.
very important to know what you're getting into and how much you need to set aside for when those tax bills come out.
Mm.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And thinking about those tax bills coming out, before we get into the subject of fighting against the taxes as they increase, could you help us understand a little bit about how taxes plus insurance and everything else goes into that escrow account?
So
Right.
in your escrow account, we will work with your lender
Uh-huh.
to see exactly how much to collect. So you're gonna have money in your escrow account that when your lender, when that loan is sold to
The service.
the
There
servicer,
you go.
Yeah.
then that's where that money's kept. It's not actually kept at the title company. All the funds go back. They're helped to save you, and it's broken down by taxes, by interest, by your mortgage, by if you have PMI, and all those things. But there's not just a one-way factor for each one of those. And there's not just a certain percentage. It's gonna vary from person to person.
Okay. And then just to clarify, PMI is the insurance if you end up losing your mortgage.
No.
Private mortgage insurance. That's
Private
correct.
mortgage
Yep,
insurance.
that's exactly what it is. Yep, so if you default on your home, there's a certain amount that's used to cover it. You won't see this on like a VA loan, you won't
Right.
see this on an FHA loan, it's called MIP.
Yes.
So mortgage insurance premium.
Yeah.
So, yes, but that's the portion, that's more of where I can get that to.
So let's make that a topic for later. We'll put a pin in
Yeah.
PMI.
Sure.
And then we'll discuss PMI on a different episode.
Yep,
That would
that's
be
fine,
fun.
that's fine.
So once all that is taken care of, the next year, you're gonna see a different tax value, and hopefully, if you own a home right now, or if you're looking to buy a home, this is something for you to consider.
Unless you're a vet with 100% disability or some disability.
Unless you're a vet who doesn't have to pay the taxes anymore.
Taxes, we ain't even worried about it.
But for the rest of us.
Oh, yeah, of course.
You know what? I will say
Worry
this,
about it for
it doesn't
everybody.
matter
Right.
if you don't pay taxes, you should still actually fight. If everybody fights against the amount that they're increasing, they
Oh, yeah.
should increase less.
Right.
Now, we're gonna have a discussion on the merits of actually fighting this versus the help that it brings the community by paying our taxes and allowing that to grow. Because there is a good reason for it. We all want roads, we all want schools, we all want the help and benefits that come from taxes. Because it's not like we don't want our kids to go get education and
Good education. Good
a good education, because that's the future,
Right.
right? That's what we want. But at the same time, it is money coming out of our pockets, $5,000 just in 1 year of the difference for the taxes. Especially if you're, like you were saying, Susan, if they're paying taxes on the dirt 1 year, and then the home is built, and then the taxes shoot up to,
And they will.
Right.
I mean,
It's
the
gonna happen.
value of dirt is a lot different than the value of dirt with the home.
with sticks.
It kind of makes sense, you know?
But people don't think about that.
Right.
You really don't. You think, oh, this is a great, I'm only gonna have to pay $2,000. The house is built, tax bill comes out, and it goes up to $10,000. There's an $8,000 discrepancy that you have to come up with.
Yep. And it's surprising, and it's billed once a year, and it goes through the entire year. And so when your payments per month jumps $1,000 because you're trying to cover $10,000 worth of taxes, that's a big deal for a lot of people.
And keep in mind that it is county specific. So depending on what county you live in will determine when you're supposed to pay your taxes, right? A lot of people don't worry about that too much. They don't have to deal with it as much because of the escrow account. Because the thing about it is that in your escrow account, it's automatically collected from you over a monthly period of time. They break it down over the 12 months of the year, right? So that's the reason why it's important to have an escrow account. If like you're one of those people that, you know, you just like to send it and forget it, like that's for you, escrow. You need to go into it. So I highly recommend that with clients when I talk to them on the phone, like, hey man, escrow, we shouldn't be talking about this. Or if it's required by whichever loan they're getting, then they don't have a choice.
Certain
right?
loans you
Right,
do,
depending on,
correct.
right, but some of them they don't, right? So you talk about a conventional loan, like if they want to, depending on how much they put down and all that stuff, right? Now we're talking about whether or not they have to get an escrow account. And if they forget, like, I mean, these people could put a lien against your house for not paying your taxes.
That's how
So, you know, I got stories about that, you know, that's just
we can make
blow your mind.
let's make a whole nother episode on taxes, because I can talk about going to tax auctions and being able to purchase a home, not through a real estate agent, but on your own, and get it for pennies on the dollar. That it's an amazing
And
system.
it's crazy. It's kind of sad, but it's crazy. You know, people, you know, taxes, they just do what they're going to do, man. And that's one of the things that on our side of the house, when you start talking about the lender side, we talk about, you know, there are two things that we can control. That's PI, you know, principal and interest, right?
Mhm.
But we can't control your insurance and your taxes.
No.
Like, we
And
cannot
that's
control
gonna
that.
vary.
Yeah,
And
it's gonna- that's the
insurance
only thing that's gonna
the last few years
change.
has definitely gone in different directions, correct?
It's pretty much been just going up. I'm not gonna lie. that's kind of how it is in Texas.
Bryson, what
This is a big
happens with
number.
an insurance account when like taxes are dirt versus, hey, we finished this community, everybody's got $300,000 homes, and we're gonna value the properties at all of a sudden $400,000.
Yeah, well, it depends, because if I'm insuring something while it's being built, it's going to fall under a separate policy. That's going to be a builder's risk policy. That's going to be more covering the liability of that build and the construction of it. When the home's actually finished, that's when you're getting a regular homeowner's policy. So it's not necessarily like you have one policy that changes. You'd be having to get two separate ones essentially there. If you were, say, wanting to insure a home while it's being built, which a lot of the time, if you're working with a builder's company, they're usually the ones that handle that builder's risk insurance.
Okay.
And then typically, some of them will do regular homeowners insurance as well, but typically the builders handle the builder's risk side, and then people like me handle the homeowners. But I do work with a lot of different just individuals that do their own builds and work with like smaller companies and things like that, to where they need the builder's risk and then they only need that for say 3-6 months, and then all of a sudden they need homeowners. So that's how that works out.
Does taxes ever adjust when somebody should think about, man, let's look at San Antonio for the last 3 years. 3 years ago, there was a house worth under $200,000 in the northern area, and then today that house is worth $350,000 to $400,000.
Yeah.
At what point are they like, man, I really need to go back and look at my insurance just as much as my taxes are growing and I need to deal with that?
Sure. So there's actually two important notes with that. Which one, the appraisal value of the home matters. But one very important note to make is that insurance is not covering the land that your home is sitting on. And so if property value is rising drastically, but it's due to the area, like say in Dallas, where, even San Antonio, where things are just going up in price, a lot of that's due to the location, in which case your insurance doesn't really change much due to that. because you're not insuring the dirt. But then, say for example, though, the home does always go up in some element of value in the actual structure, and typically when your homeowner's policy renews, it'll automatically increase your dwelling coverage. Say you're at $350,000 in dwelling coverage for your home. When it renews, it might go up around 10%, and you might be sitting at $385,000 of dwelling coverage, or whatever that could look like. And that's something that it is important just to take a look at when you get your renewal offer for your homeowners, just to look at that number and make sure that that makes sense for what your actual structure of your home is valued at. Just because if that needs to be raised, you obviously would want to do that. You regularly can't go lower than whatever they give you there, but it is important that if it does need to be bumped up, you should do that so that you're not sort of left out to dry there.
What if somebody, for example, makes a change to their home, updates either kitchen or bathroom?
Yeah, so that every home insurance is going to calculate that dwelling coverage amount with a replacement cost estimator, and that's going to be using all the home characteristics, as well as just it calculates like the value or the how much it costs for materials and labor as well. And so if your home does change, like say you turn a half bath into a full bath, or you get a whole new bathroom or make additions, you're going to want to have your insurance agent change the replacement cost estimator with those home details, so that's going to update in a way that it'll give a brand new number that will be the correct amount for what the home should be insured for. And so that's also important. And for me personally, if I'm switching someone from one carrier to another carrier, since I'm independent, I'll ask them, have there been additions to your home? Have you made any changes? Has the heating been updated? Has the plumbing been updated? I ask all those questions because that's going to be important for making sure that the home's still insured properly.
We covered a whole lot
Yeah, we
today.
did.
Yeah, in a short time so far. And then I still want to cover a couple more things. With additions being done, people might think, oh, this is why I'm getting an insurance or a tax adjustment. Well, no, that's not really true. A tax gets adjusted because a lot of things are being added all at once, because the people in the appraisal area of, our counties, they don't have a chance to go to every single house and look at every single option. What they do is they take a drone, they go really high, and they say, this is about the square feet of that house, also depending on the history of it. This was a 2-story home, nothing's been changed, that's what the square foot should be. And then that, according to our current tax bracket calculation, should mean you're paying this much in taxes, along with everybody else getting more. But because it's a blanket statement for everybody, everybody's situation is different. So Willie, I asked that you could tell us about how to fight, how that goes.
Well, first you got to put your dukes up, right? All right, that's
Okay.
the first part, because you ain't trying to get punched in the face, right? No, but so there's like 2 ways, right, to lower your taxes. One of them is through tax exemptions, things like the Homestead Act, right?
Yep.
If you're a disabled veteran, get those really nice, right? And then also there's the, of course, protesting your taxes, right? Now all this is done through the CAD, or the County Assessor District.
Yes.
Got me on that earlier. But basically you have to go through your county and you have to protest your taxes. And the way about it is basically 5 steps. So the first step is to file a notice of protest. Second one is to prepare the information for the hearing, right? Third one is to attend an informal hearing at the appraisal district office. Third one is to attend appraisal district review board hearing. And finally, appeal through the district court or arbitration.
So they give you options for fighting, and
Yeah.
I have fought my taxes in the past, and I did, and I was successful. So if you don't make any changes to your home, it's very important that you take pictures, that you show that, hey, there's been no changes made to my home, there's nothing that should make my value go up. Or if you have issues with your home that maybe you're saving to fix, that will help you when you're protesting your taxes, because it's like, look, my home can't sell for this because I have this, this, and this to do first.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, so there are ways, so you can either go in person, I did mine over the phone, or you can do it like on a Zoom call where like you can see each other. So there's different ways to protest those taxes. And it's important that you could reach out to your local realtor to get comps.
Yes.
And why is that important?
Well, comps really help to facilitate the idea of, hey, this is how much houses are going for, and then a good real estate agent should be able to say, okay, even if this house is worth this much without any problems, if we add the foundation issue, plus the kitchen that needs to be updated, plus all these other adjustments that need to be made, a real estate agent can not certify those adjustments. I won't use the word certify, but I will say demonstrate. Yeah, as a good word to show what a real estate agent can do. An agent can demonstrate how the value may not be as high as what the city is asking. Another thing about the whole system is that, again, if everybody kind of puts in, hey, our value isn't as high as what it's saying, it should help the situation. I also wanted to mention that if you do protest, there's no way it's going to go up. There's one caveat, unless they made an error on their end. Like, if they didn't put the decimal place in the right spot, his taxes are meant to be at 50,000, and they put 5,000. Well, it's government. Yeah, they made a mistake, but they're going to correct their mistake. It'll be adjusted to 50,000. So if you see something really low than everybody else, don't hide it. You still need to fight it, but accept the fact that it's going to be adjusted back to what it should be. That being said, yeah, if a real estate agent is like, no, dude, your home value actually went up $30,000-$40,000, if you protest, they won't adjust it so that it's $30,000-$40,000 more. They will keep it at that lower rate, which is another bonus in making sure you file for that petition before that May 14th deadline, May 15th. I think the deadline is the 15th. So that's really important, and that's something that we should all be considering.
Willie, you gonna do that today? There you
Gonna go file taxes?
go. No, go protest your tax.
Go protest?
Yeah.
I got taxes to protest. Man, I ain't protesting. I'm gonna watch from my kingdom. I'm like, oh, look at him. There goes Bryson. He's fighting his taxes. Oh, he just got kicked in the face. Oh my God. Susan's got his back. Oh no, she's down too.
Right. The one thing that we want to table for now is that the best thing that we can do for each other is petition for the fight against the taxes. And what I want to discuss maybe next week or maybe in a couple weeks, because this process takes a full year.
Well, the process doesn't take a year.
Well, I'm talking about for them because you're building. Like they're kind of saying like right now, hey, this is what it's going to be for next year, right? Because we're paying in arrears. So they're telling us now, like, hey, this is what you're going to pay in 2025. And at this point, you have until May 15th to say, no, I don't think I should pay that in 2025. And then the process, the 5 steps,
Yep.
that takes another 2-3 months before you get through that. And so right now, the most important message we can put out there is when you get it, start preparing to fight it. Appreciate everybody showing up to the Selling Room. We had a good discussion today, and we're looking forward to talking about more about taxes maybe in a couple weeks. But for now, we're going to end it, and we will see y'all the next time we're here. But before we go, make sure you
Like the video.
Comment.
Subscribe.
and share.
See y'all next week.
Bye.
Peace.